This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
So Billy Joe Saunders' WBO World Middleweight title is, of course, hanging in the balance. Of course, he failed the VADA test, which he agreed to, even though the substance that he failed on is perfectly fine in the UK and around the world, just out part of VADA, it's not. But even though they didn't have to employ VADA for this fight, they did, and Billy Joe didn't follow the rules or didn't look at them too carefully, or his nutritionists or his trainers, whatever else it may be. They're claiming a nasal spray. Don't know, do we? But ultimately, the WBO are giving Billy Joe Saunders a due diligence at the minute, but he has to plead his case to them. So they sent him confirmation to say, give us any reasons why we should not strip you of this WBO world title. Because the WBO said that if he was to fail and they don't license him from Massachusetts to fight in Boston, then they will strip him. So they're going through the process right now. And the WBO president, Francisco Valcarcel, said to ESPN, and thank you, Alejandro, for sending me the article here, that once you sign a contract to fight, you have to comply with the contract. He didn't comply with the rules and regulations, and so he wasn't licensed. It's something he created, something he did. It wasn't because of something that happened, but we have to give him due process. So in other words, they're going to send him an email or whatever else it may be, or potentially to Frank Warren, who is of course his official promoter, whereas Eddie Hearn was just promoting this show. So he's going to have to say to them why he failed and why he should not be stripped. So we'll really have to wait and see what happens with that one. But it's not looking good. And Demetrius Andrade, of course, he still will be headlining in Boston October 20th, but he will not be against Billy Joe Saunders. But there's a question, will the WBO world title be on the line when he takes on Walter Katundonkwa? And this guy, he's from Namibia, and he has 17 wins, 16 knockouts, and he's only ever been past the halfway mark one time. So he's a bit of a puncher, but you could probably argue, well, who is it that he's been fighting? So these are questions that will be answered. But it's unfortunate for Andrade because he's been training for a southpaw and one with a very, very high skill set and elusiveness of Billy Joe Saunders. And now he's going to have to be fighting with, a week's notice, this guy who is orthodox and a power puncher. So he's now going to have to go complete opposite to what he's been training for his whole camp. So he's got just over a week and a half to prepare for this one. But again, will the WBO title be on the line? Now, I know there's going to be a lot of disappointed people. I mean, I'm disappointed in myself. It was a fight I was really looking forward to. And potentially this was a fight that would have helped DAZN a lot. For those who haven't subscribed to DAZN already, may well have done so for Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders, because that is a very, very big fight. A lot of people believe in Andrade, and he could be the real deal. Of course, he's former world champion at 154. He's recently moved up to 160. So this is a huge test for him. And had Andrade come through this one, of course, America would have erupted for him, because so many people believe in him, but due to inactivity and whatever else it may be, they're not too sure if he's a real deal yet. But by beating Billy Joe Saunders shows that he is the real deal, especially at 160, and then potentially move on to face the winner of maybe Jacobs and Derevchenko, or potentially Charlo versus Golovkin winner, or Canelo down the line, whatever else it may be. So some huge, huge fights coming off the back of this one based on credibility. But if the WBO world title is going to be on the line in this one, people are probably going to pick Andrade to win this one. But do not sleep on this Namibian. He's got serious power. Again, as I said, it's questionable because of the opposition that he has been in with. But it's not easy to knock out anybody, is it? I mean, let's be real. You know, we all moan about Wilder, but he's still knocking out a professional boxer, right? And that's exactly what this Namibian guy's doing. And I'm calling him a Namibian guy because pronouncing his last name is quite difficult. Actually, let's just call him Walter, because that is his first name. So Walter is very, very difficult and completely different style. And should Walter win, it'll probably not come as much as a surprise to those who know him in Namibia, South Africa kind of area. So we'll really have to wait and see what happens. But will the WBO world title be on the line? Probably. Very, very probably. Because as I said before, the WBO said that if Billy Joe Saunders will not be licensed, they will strip him. But of course, Frank Warren, he's very good pals with the WBO. Whenever you see a Frank Warren card or his fighters, there's always WBO on the line. It's very, very rare you'll see another sanctioning body. And it's the same with Bob Arum of Top Rank as well. WBO have very good relationships with Frank Warren. So Frank Warren is, of course, the promoter of Billy Joe Saunders, as well as MTK Global. So maybe he can have some kind of sway with them, potentially, but if they have to follow their rules, they have to follow their rules. I mean, why did they sign up for VADA? I mean, I suppose it proves that they're clean, but ultimately he failed on something that was found in a nasal spray. So it's unfortunate for him, and Billy Joe Saunders is now going to have a reputation as a drug cheat. So whether or not he did it intentionally or whether he didn't, there's going to be a whole lot of people believing that he did, because he's not exactly a very liked person anyway. Not because of his boxing style, but because of his antics outside the ring. So there's plenty of people up and around the country here in the UK, and certainly in America, who just don't like him and will be happy that he's stripped. But at the same time, we've now missed out on a huge fight between Saunders and Andrade. But anyway, so that's what the situation is. His manager, Demetrius Andrade's manager, Ed Farris, he also put out a statement as well, so I might as well read that one. Demetrius is devastated. He wanted Saunders under any circumstances because he felt beating him would give him the credibility of beating the world champion. He wanted Saunders. He's been training for him. He said that's who he wanted. He said that's who is going to make me better. At the end of the day, the commission did the only thing they could do. Demetrius is crushed. Down the road, I guess we'll find out if there's ever going to be a Saunders fight, but he wanted to fight Saunders regardless of the positive test. So that is Demetrius Andrade's manager, Ed Farris' statement. So, I mean, maybe it is possible that if whoever wins between Andrade and Walter could face Billy Joe Saunders next, straight after. Who knows? Because I haven't heard anything about him being suspended. I mean, it's unlikely that he'd be suspended, especially in the UK, because he's part of UCAD and WADA as well. So he's perfectly licensed to fight here. So maybe they could bring the winner of Andrade and Walter to the UK, and it could potentially be, of course, on a Frank Warren show or, of course, on a Sky Sports Matchroom show. Who knows? So Billy Joe Saunders, he's probably going to get the winner, to be fair, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But that's what's going on. So we'll have to wait and find out what happens with the WBO. It's looking like he will get stripped officially very, very soon. So probably expect an announcement today or tomorrow on that one. And let's find out. So you drop your thoughts below about it. Click that thumbs up and subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.